Hi everyone, welcome back to Closing Time Kitchen. My name is Denise Monaco. I am a business developer with Settlement Engine. I do title insurance in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Florida, and Ohio. And today is my first guest, Kjordan with Princeton Mortgage. He is going to talk to us about the pre-approval process and how to start your home buying journey.
Absolutely. And while we do that, we're going to make crab
amazing
cakes.
crab cakes.
Yes, my favorite thing to make is crab cakes. So when you had brought the idea, and I said, first of all, it's an awesome idea, right? So watch all the episodes. But I said, there's only one thing I would want to make, and that's crab cakes. I've made them for the last 20 years
Fishes.
For the Italian Seven Fish Dinner, my wife's family, and every year they ask for them. Every year they're a big hit, and this year, this year will be no different. It's not your normal crab, like there's Maryland crab cakes, there's different ways to make crab cakes, everybody knows, and people do get passionate about how their crab cakes are made. This is how I make mine, so if you don't like it, that's on you.
It's okay.
All right, but this is how I make my crab cakes. So what I did was, let's go through the ingredients first, okay?
So we've already added everything to the bowl.
Yes.
So we had some crab meat, jumbo lump.
So we had the jumbo lump crab meat, and the jumbo lump crab meat was big lumps of crab meat.
Great.
And I do love that. It makes for a fancier crab cake. Sometimes I prefer the back fin or the lump because it's a little more flavorful.
Okay.
But the jumbo lump does make a really cool crab meat, or crab cake. So we're going to go with the jumbo lump to start with. Okay. Mayonnaise, which is one of our main ingredients. It's about 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. And then what was the significance of the mayonnaise?
I grew up on Hellmann's, and I have used Hellmann's mayonnaise my whole life. Up until about 6 months ago, I tried Mike's. I will never go back to Hellmann's. So Mike's, if you're listening, you got the best mayonnaise.
There you go. And I've always used Hellmann's, so this is a
new
step.
Try.
That's it. So,
and then we have shallot.
So we also have shallots.
That was sauteed.
We sauteed ahead of time, and what I did was I cooled it off. I don't like to add the hot shallots to the mayonnaise and all that.
Right.
So cool off the shallots after they're sauteed. There's about a tablespoon of shallots. Mix it in with the mayonnaise, and we also Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of Tabasco, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit.
From the farmer's market, fresh made ketchup from the farmer's market.
Can't beat that. And then some yellow mustard. Now you can use Dijon mustard too. I've used both. And then of course
obviously you need Old Bay.
Love Old Bay. So we basically combine all of that in a bowl, right? Michelle, if you want to take a look at that. Right?
And then we folded it together.
Fold it together, and you don't want to whisk it together.
Right.
You want to fold it so that way you don't break up the crab meat too much, okay? And then I add one of my favorite ingredients, hands down, is the premium saltine crackers. And it has no knockoff brands when it comes to crackers. It's got to be the premium saltine crackers. I've added about a half a sleeve of crackers crushed up. It gives it a good flavor. It helps to pull the moisture out of the lemon juice and the crab meat, and I think it adds. And then last but not least, the lemon. We added lemon as well, half a lemon.
Roll your lemon.
Rolled.
And while he's adding the egg, I'm going to ask Ken, what is the first step in the pre-approval process? Do we go to our realtor first? Do we go to our lender first? Or does it matter?
Well, I will say that going to your realtor first is always so common, right? Because let's face it, it's the house that moves people. It's the house that gets people excited. So going to your lender first, or to your realtor first, is common. But then, as soon as you are done with your realtor should be sending you to the lender for a pre-approval. And the reason is the pre-approval benefits more than the realtor. Like, obviously the realtor wants to make sure that you're qualified. If they put an offer in, that you're going to be able to get done what you need to get done. And they're showing you houses, and it benefits the lender too, because it gives me an opportunity to take a look at your file, come up with a plan, potentially look at any shortfalls or hazards that we might have to address on the front end. And it also benefits the buyer. And how it benefits the buyer is it gives you an opportunity to ask all your questions. It gives you an opportunity to understand what goes into your monthly payment, what goes into your cash out of pocket, what programs are available, and what the process is going to be like. I think that's a big part of it. People don't realize, you got to know what to expect. What's the road ahead going to look like? I think pre-approval it really helps with all of that.
The fun part is looking at the houses. The part that people really don't think is the fun part is dealing with the financing of it. But Ken has so many different programs. For us, that's the fun part. But Ken has so many programs that are available right now. You can put 20% down. You can put 3% down. You can take out an interest-free second. that helps you towards closing costs. There's so many different programs available right now. So Ken is the person you want to talk to, and we'll be right back with some more questions. Okay. All right, guys, welcome back. And we are getting ready to fry the crab cake. So we have our little, what is this called? Like a skillet, heated up. We have the pan that they're going to go in the oven to finish them. But while we're waiting for this to heat up, Ken is going to tell us about some of the programs that he has.
So the most diverse program set is in the first-time buyer area, I would say. Buyers who don't have a whole lot of cash, they don't have a whole lot of money saved, but they still want to buy a house. We have programs where you can put as little as 3% down. We have one program where even with 3% down, you can take out an interest-free second mortgage, and it's interest-free, no payments, and it's forgivable over a 10-year period of time.
No payments.
So if you're in the house for 10 years, that second mortgage piece is forgivable. So on a $200,000 loan, for instance, 3% down, $6,000, but you're also going to get a $10,000 interest-free second mortgage with no payments, right? So that allows you to cover the down payment and some of the closing costs, right?
Yeah.
And if you can work in a seller assist, which we know is rare right now, but if you're able to get one, that's even better. But we also have programs for self-employed borrowers who have trouble showing their income for various reasons. On tax returns, they have programs where they'll essentially utilize the cash flow on the property as the risk mitigation factor.
For an investment property.
For an investment property,
Okay.
Exactly. But then we have everything in between. We have FHA, we have VA, we have conventional,
USDA,
and they all have their strengths.
Yes.
And that's a big part of the pre-approval again, is that you really, knowing all the programs is one thing. Knowing which one's right for you is another. And that's where working with the right agent, the right lender, you can really make sure that the program you're getting into is the right program for you.
Just like that mayonnaise, Hellman's or Mike's. Who knows?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
So what we're going to start with here, another staple of my crab cakes is it's a pan-fried crab cake. It is finished in the oven, and it's not deep fried and it's not broiled.
Okay.
Okay. And I use Panko breadcrumbs, and I don't go through the normal breading process with the egg and the flour and the breadcrumbs. I think that creates too thick of a crust.
So whatever you have it in there is just enough to coat
exactly.
it.
It's just gonna coat it, and then it'll get light and crispy, and then the egg that's in here will kind of make it a little fluffy. So, so the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna use my hands, but I have the gloves. Okay, is I'm just gonna pull out like a meatball-sized crab cake. Okay, and I'm just gonna drop it right in and then if you want to spray down that whole frying pan. All right.
If you haven't used one of these are awesome, and I can link that in the episode for you. You can also pour it
In the show notes?
Yes, in the notes. You can also pour it.
Love
it. Makes your life a lot easier.
We're making big meatballs, but meatball-sized crab cakes, okay? And then what you want to do is, I kind of keep it as a round crab cake for now, okay? I'm not gonna flatten it just yet, okay? Grab some of this oil. Again, make sure that the panko is nice and coated on there. There you go. Now we're going to make a couple more. Of course, I got to make enough to bring one home for Amy.
Oh, you're not leaving here with any of the crab cakes. Stay.
All right. And then give me just a little more oil on that section there.
So once they have a signed agreement of sale on a house that was accepted, I guess they let you know, and then you get the process of getting them approved started.
Yeah, so if they've done their pre-approval, the good news is a lion's share of the work is already done. And that's a big part of the pre-approval, especially now because, there's so many offers that go in and you got to compete. And sometimes the best way to compete is through speed. So you have to be able to, close quickly.
Yes.
Okay, and the pre-approval goes a long way into making sure that you can close quickly. All right, let's cut and clean up.
Okay. Welcome back. The crab cakes are browning up very nicely, and we're going to talk about what happens once your mortgage is approved. What do we do next, Ken?
So once your mortgage is approved and you have your mortgage commitment, right? Then obviously you're going to share that commitment with the listing agent so they know that your loan's approved. There may be some outstanding conditions on that commitment. Typically like homeowners insurance, title insurance if it hasn't been cleared yet, tax certifications, and sometimes an updated pay stub or an updated bank statement, sometimes an explanation letter for something that the underwriter is asking for.
Large deposits. That's
Large
a big
deposits
thing.
are big.
Don't do
Moving
large
money around.
deposits, yeah.
Try not to move money around once you're under contract. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just gonna put all the money into my one account, which is
Don't.
fine, but wait till the very end. Don't do it during the documentation process, because then the processor has to try and find and track where all those
everything.
deposits
You're going to
came
need a
from.
lot of documentation, so
Yeah.
you leave it where it is. The other big no-no, which I know, is do not open any new credit.
Yes.
If you're purchasing a new home and you're going into Raymore and Flanagan and you're looking to buy a whole new house full of furniture and they tell you to sign up for a credit card, there's 0 interest and no payments. If you open that credit card, your lender's going to do a soft pull right before closing. They're going to see that new account.
Yeah.
And if there is any money on that, they have to count it towards your debt to income, and it could make you not qualify.
It literally could.
So don't do anything with opening any new credit until after you have the keys in your hand.
So what I did here is I'm just flattening the crab cakes out a little bit. So we got our nice crust on there from when we put them on originally. Flatten them out, make them look a little more cakey, and then what I'm going to do is just transfer them to the sheet pan. Now we have the oven preheated to 350?
Yep,
350 degrees. And we're going to let these finish in the oven. And when they're done, they're going to look beautiful. And in the meantime, we're going to make a remoulade. A remoulade, which is like a
fancy tartar sauce.
Yeah, like a fancy tartar sauce. This is one of my favorite parts of the dish is the sauce. So very, very
Take
excited.
these and put them in the oven for you.
All right.
Welcome back. We have our crab cakes in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350, and Ken is going to make this very fancy tartar sauce.
Remoulade.
A remoulade.
Remoulade. So again, is it traditional? I have no idea. This is what I call remoulade, and this is how we make it. So first, I'm going to start with a bunch of mayonnaise. Probably
Mike's.
could have, yes, the Mike's real
Mike's
mayonnaise.
amazing.
Probably could have squirted it out of the jar when we were taking our break.
Probably.
That way
okay.
we weren't sitting here squeezing it out. But either way, we're going to go with about a cup of the Mike's real mayonnaise, and then we're going to add a little bit of mustard. It's going to be very similar to the dressing we made for the crab cakes. Just a little bit of the Worcestershire.
Okay, so while he's doing that, I also want to talk about, okay, you got your commitment letter, your loan is approved, you've met all of your conditions, didn't open any new credit, and you didn't move money around.
And you didn't quit your job.
And you didn't quit your...
I've had people
oh my goodness.
quit their job.
Quit your job.
Because they're like, oh, loan's approved. I guess I can
Right.
tell my boss.
I'm making more money, right? But then guess what? You offer letter, you
It's
have
a
to wait
mess.
for your pay stubs, and it goes back through underwriting. So don't do any of that. Then we schedule settlement.
Then we schedule settlement. Yes. Now, the cool part about our settlements, we do something called a hybrid close, which means that the 2 days before, 3 days before, the buyer gets a full copy of their settlement package. Everything they're going to sign, they're going to have in their email. They can review. We can review it together. And then the morning of settlement, a majority of the paperwork that they're going to sign becomes available for electronic signature. So now they can go in the morning of settlement, go in and electronically sign a bulk, if not
90%.
Yeah,
of
like
it.
90% of the signatures can be electronic. When they get to the settlement table, now they're just signing the mortgage, the note, yeah, a couple of other forms, and it turns settlement from an hour process into like a 15-minute process for the buyer, and it's really, really cool.
Now,
So-
not every lender is like that, so when you are getting a pre-approval, if you're not using Ken, ask them what the process is. Are you going to sit through an hour-long settlement? Is it a little bit more streamlined? It's good to have options, and it's good to know what your settlement's going to be like, because that day of moving, you're scheduling moving trucks and everything else, so you want it to go as smoothly as possible.
Agreed. All right, so we got the mayonnaise, we got the mustard, we got the Worcestershire, we got the lemon juice, and we're just going to whisk it all together, okay? And then we're going to add. Now, here's the key with the pickle. So I love these decent Watson kosher
Sure,
dills.
so good.
A deli pickle, big deli pickle also works.
In the
as
big
well.
barrels?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want to use those like bright lime green pickles that you. And I'm not saying there's nothing
Or
wrong with
relish,
it. You could.
but you can just chop them up yourself.
I prefer this. We chopped up one
Yep.
kosher pickle. So I'm going to add, I don't know, maybe half of it for what we're doing here. All right. We're going to mix it up. And then again, as you can see, it kind of looks a little bit like the tartar sauce,
really
right?
does.
But it's just a little tangier and it doesn't have that sweet
Gourmet-ish.
relish flavor. Yes. So, and this is going to go on the crab cake, and we're going to then we're going to plate.
Okay, awesome. We'll be right back and get those crab cakes out of the oven. Okay, so we are sitting at the settlement table and you're signing your documents, and as the title company, the money comes to us for your settlement. And we have a platform called Closing Lock, and think of it like a Venmo. You go in and you set your account up at the beginning of the process and you send your money directly through Closing Lock, and that ensures that your money comes to us and it is insured for $2.5 million. So we don't have any money that doesn't go where it does not belong. So make sure when you're dealing with a lender, you know their settlement process, and when you're dealing with a title company, you know what safe measures they have in place to protect your money.
And that's important because I've seen people wire money to wiring instructions that were not given to them by the title company, and that money's gone.
It's scary.
Forever. It's gone forever.
I mean, although we are insured for things like that, we don't want to have anyone stressed about where their money's going.
Sure.
So,
All right, so let's
crab
plate
cakes.
these things up. So number one, I love to serve this normally with like sauteed spinach, maybe like crispy potatoes is my
Nice
favorite way
salad.
to serve it. Sure, or with like maybe like a linguine or a capellini with like a lemon or like a garlic and butter sauce. But here we're just going to do the crab cake. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put a little. This is our remoulade. Okay, just going to put a little bit right there. Okay.
Chef.
We're going to take our crab cake. The best looking one, I think, is this one, in my opinion. So we're going to start with this one. We're just going to drop it right there on the middle. And then take a little bit of this sauce and drizzle it right off of the side. And you could just picture how good that would look with sauteed spinach and potatoes.
Delicious.
And that is, that's our
Don't look at me.
So this is the perfect crab cake from Ken, and just like the perfect crab cake, buying a home starts with the right ingredients, and it all begins with a solid pre-approval. Thanks to Kjordan from Princeton Mortgage, you now know what it takes to get cooking on your home ownership journey. Whether it's crab cakes or closing costs, preparation is key. We will see you next time on Closing Time Kitchen, where great food and smart moves come together. Please make sure you subscribe, share, and I would love to hear what questions you have answers that you want answered next. Thank you, and don't forget it's always sweet at closing time.
Okay, do it again. You make it more natural. You were like speeding through there. Don't read it so much. Okay, do it again and make it natural. Make it natural, okay?
Thanks, Ken, for these great crab cakes.
My
and
pleasure.
just like the perfect crab cake, buying a home starts with the right ingredients, and it all begins with a solid pre-approval. Thanks to Ken from Princeton Mortgage for joining us today. And now you know what it takes for your home ownership journey. Thank you for taking the time, and remember, it's always sweet at closing time.